Before I get started with this video, I want to take the time to say that I was making coffee this morning and I spilt a little bit of that coffee on this hoodie. The hoodie is clean. I do my laundry every Sunday morning. It's Sunday, October 19th. And I pulled out my sweatsuit out of the dryer and it was all warm. And I was like, oh, this is the perfect thing for me to wear today because I'm, cleaning up around the house. I'm recording this YouTube video. It'll be super cozy and cute. And after I put on my sweatsuit, I was like, okay, let me go make myself a cup of coffee. And I'm clumsy. I'm a clumsy girl. I've always been a clumsy girl. And I spilled a little bit of the coffee on my sweatsuit. So if you see a stain on my hoodie, it's clean. I just cleaned it this morning. I'm just clumsy. And I'm not going to change my entire outfit to record a video. Like, I want to be a content creator. I'm going to consistently put out content and I'm going to work hard on it. I got me a nice camera. I got myself a microphone. I got myself a ring light. Like, your girl is doing all of the things so the video quality is good. But I am not going to change my outfit because I spilled some coffee on it. I'm going to work hard, but I'm not going to work that hard. So if you see a coffee stain on my sweatsuit, mind your business. I'm just joking with you guys. I'm just having fun. I'm just teasing. I'm just being funny. But that is a true story. And there's probably a coffee stain on my hoodie. So if you see a stain, it's probably coffee. It might also be makeup, but it's probably coffee. Anyways, how is everybody doing? It's been a minute since I last pulled out the camera and yapped. If you're new here, my name is Kenya, and this is my YouTube channel. I am a small creator. I have less than 100 subscribers. So if you like this video, if you like my personality, please consider hitting that subscribe button down below because there are going to be more like it. I make content. I make all types of content. I don't like to put myself in a box. But if I have to describe my content, I would say I make lifestyle content. I am currently documenting my journey, my legal journey, because yes, I do want to be an attorney. So I'm documenting my journey into law school. I'm not taking the traditional route, which we will talk about today. So that's super interesting and fun. I also read a lot of books and I do reviews on the books that I read. I do makeup tutorials. I do video essays and you should check all of that out. And you should hit that subscribe button down below because I am a small creator trying to make it, and I'm competing with a lot of big creators, a lot of people who've been doing this for a lot longer than I have, and they already have a following, and their content is already getting pushed by the algorithm. But my content is not being pushed by the algorithm because nobody knows who I am. But I hit the subscribe button so that my content gets pushed to more people. I would be so grateful because I am doing this on my own. I don't have a team of editors, nothing like that. I'm doing this all by myself, independent. And I also have a 9-to-5. I don't post as consistently as probably some of your favorite creators because, like I said, a lot of them have teams, right? And I don't have a team. So I don't post as consistently as them. And because I don't post as consistently because I have a 9-to-5, that's not an excuse, but it's a factor. And because I don't post as consistently because I'm doing all of the editing, all of the recording myself, my content really doesn't get pushed by the algorithm, because the algorithm rewards consistency. And I can't post 3 times a week. I'm trying to get to a place where I can post 3 times a week. I'm trying to have systems in place where I can speed up my editing process and I can speed up my content creation process so I can put out 3 videos a week so I can grow my audience. But right now I don't have that system and I don't have the editors. So please subscribe to this channel so that I can get all of those things and make more content for you guys. So anyways, I wanted to take the time to make a YouTube video about my untraditional legal journey, where I'm at, where I'm going with my legal career. Because when I was just out of undergrad, I was really struggling with how I wanted to pursue a legal career. I was always interested in the law. I watched a lot of true crime and all of those things. So I knew that I wanted to pursue a legal career. I just didn't know how, because I don't have anyone in my family who is an attorney or anything like that. So So when you don't have that type of guidance, it can be very difficult to navigate becoming a lawyer. I mean, it can be difficult navigating the law school admissions process, all of that stuff. So I want to document my journey just to help someone out there who might be having, who might be finding it difficult or might be interested in it and don't really know how to go about it, because there are a lot of different ways to go to law school. You are going to meet a lot of people in higher education who are going to tell you that you can only do things a certain way. And there is some truth to that. If you want to be a certain thing, there is a certain way you have to become that thing. Like if you want to be a politician, there are certain schools you probably want to attend to become a politician, right? Or at least that's how it has been in the past. I would argue that that is no longer the case. I mean, Donald Trump is currently our president, and love him or hate him, he is not the traditional president. He didn't go to Harvard. But traditionally, for a very long time, you had to check off these certain boxes to be taken seriously as a politician or as a corporate attorney. And I do think that these systems are going to change, especially with the rise of AI. But that is a different conversation for a different day. The gist of it is, we are now living in a day and age where norms are being broken, for better or for worse. And a lot of people don't know that you can go to law school later in life, and you can go to law school without having a 4.0 GPA. So I wanted to create this video to inspire someone else out there who might be looking into going into law school, graduate school, whatever it may be, in a unconventional way. But you can do it even though it doesn't make sense on paper, even though it doesn't make sense to the person sitting next to you. You can still do it. And I think that that's a beautiful thing. And I think that it will only lead to a more inclusive justice system, because our system is very much pay to play, right? And it's pay to play because going to law school isn't cheap, right? And neither is hiring a good attorney. But because our system is pay to play, it leaves out a good number of people who can't afford to pay to play. And if we don't have non-traditional ways of pursuing a legal education, it makes it harder for us to have non-traditional attorneys who aren't just money-hungry sharks, quite frankly. And when we don't have those non-traditional attorneys, then our justice system, I'm not going to say it doesn't work, but it's significantly weaker, right? Because not everybody has the same access to justice. And for that reason, I think we should celebrate and encourage more people to pursue any form of education, but particularly a legal education, in a way that isn't so traditional. So this is my legal journey, and I hope it inspires someone out there. Because I wasn't a straight A student, I wasn't this star test taker, but here I am building a career for myself in the legal profession. That's why I wanted to sit down and share with you all my untraditional legal journey, because I know there is somebody else out there. In fact, there are so many of us switching careers, starting over later in life, or just pursuing higher education on our own timeline. If that sounds like you, then this video is for you. And stick around, because on this channel, we will be supporting each other through it as we pursue our best selves. So grab a coffee or a matcha or just some water, because hydration is key, and let's dive in. For some background, I'm in my mid-20s and I recently graduated undergrad with a degree in theater and film. Yes, I know, just what the internet needs, another chronically online theater kid. But I graduated in 2024 with a GPA that was not impressive. I had a 3.2, I believe, maybe a 3.1. Nothing crazy, nothing groundbreaking. When I first went to college, I was convinced that I was going to graduate and win an Oscar and become the next Zendaya. So that didn't happen. Because by the time I graduated, I realized that the entertainment industry, the traditional entertainment industry that is, was no longer for me. Traditional media is, if we're being honest, it's kind of dying. It's not dead, and I don't know if it will ever fully be dead. I don't know, I can't tell the future, but I know that I spend most of my time on YouTube, and I'm assuming everyone else my age probably does as well. So chasing a career in the entertainment industry didn't feel sustainable at the time. I'd much rather spend my time making content that resonates with me. And I figured that out quickly after I graduated, and I kind of freaked out because for a long time I was just the theater girl and I didn't know who I was without being the theater girl, and taking the time to figure that out seemed daunting. But I realized I was watching a lot of true crime and I was watching a lot of trials and legal commentary, and I realized that I should maybe pursue a career in the legal industry. Once I figured this out, I knew I couldn't dive headfirst into law school because I have undergraduate student loans I need to pay off, and I don't want to repeat the mistakes I made in undergrad. So I didn't want to just escape into graduate school. One, because that is extremely expensive and time consuming, and two, because I wasn't completely sure if pursuing a legal career was for me. Through some personal research and with the help of social media, I figured out that I wanted to be a paralegal and I wanted to take the paralegal route. And I also figured out a lot of attorneys work as paralegals before they go to law school, especially people who have backgrounds like me, who maybe didn't have the best study habits in undergrad and maybe didn't have the best financial support to go straight into graduate school. So yeah, I've been working as a paralegal for the past 6 months, and it's only confirmed that I made the right choice and that I am pursuing the right career path. And it has solidified my desire to attend law school in the future. But I also know that I won't be attending law school in the traditional way. The typical path of a law student looks like this. You finish undergrad, immediately go into law school, graduate, land a 6-figure big law job, and ride off into the sunset into your upper middle class life. But that's not my journey. And honestly, big law isn't for me. I'm not going to say that I will never, ever, ever pursue big law. I think that big law is actually a great place for young attorneys to get their feet in the water. There is a lot of support and a lot of resources at big corporate law firms. I work with attorneys who have done big law, and I've heard the horror stories. I've heard the trauma, quite frankly. I've heard, not only that, I've also heard how much they regretted not having that time with their kids because they would spend 80 hours a week working. You're working so much to the point where you're not taking care of yourself, and you're also neglecting the people you care about. And there are some people who are able to do it, but I'm not one of them. I like to take my time with things. I need time to recharge. I will work hard, but I also need time to just protect my peace. And I know that about myself. So I don't want to pursue a big law career. I'm not saying I will never work in big law. I'm just saying that I don't want to work in big law for the next 10 plus years to become partner at a big law firm, even though there's a lot of money in that. But the money to me isn't enough. I could have all the money in the world, but if I'm miserable, what does it matter? That's how I see it right now. I could change, I'm young. So since I don't want to go into big law, and I don't want to become a politician or, the next president, my path into law school will be significantly different than the traditional law school student. For example, even though I'm a recent grad, I graduated in 2024, I don't plan on applying to law schools for another 2 to 3 years because I want to pay down my undergraduate student loans first. I also think more real-world paralegal experience will be beneficial to me in law school, especially as someone who doesn't have any relatives that are attorneys. I didn't major in political science, or I didn't major in pre-law. I was a film and media major. So I think getting a little bit more exposure to the legal world as a paralegal, whether that's in my current role or at a different law firm, just getting as much paralegal experience as I can. The reason I want to pay down my undergraduate student loans before I go to law school is because I've seen firsthand how student loan debt cripples attorneys and makes them feel stuck in a career or maybe even in an area of law that they are no longer passionate about, but they have to be in order to pay off their 6-figure student loan debt. So yeah, I worked with attorneys who absolutely hate their lives, hate their jobs, hate the area of law that they practice, hate their clients, but there's really nothing that they can do about it because they're financially stuck. They couldn't leave the job if they wanted to because they have payments. They have student loan payments. They have mortgages. They have, all of these big bills. And a part of that is just, being an adult, having responsibilities. And I'm very fortunate to be in a place where I don't have those responsibilities yet. So I can be a little bit more flexible with how I want to pursue things. And that is a very privileged thing to have, and I'm going to take advantage of it, and I'm going to take advantage of it. I'm going to take advantage of the fact that I am in my mid-20s and I don't have any kids and I don't have a mortgage. And yes, I have student loan debt, but it's manageable, and I'm going to get ahead of the game and try to pay down the student loan debt as quickly as I can, which I will also be documenting on this channel, and hopefully take out very little, if any, loans to attend law school. And your next question is probably going to be like, well, how are you going to do that? How are you going to not take out any loans to go to law school if law school is so freaking expensive? And my response is, personally, I plan on doing a part-time law school. Law school is 3 years, and then the 4th year, a lot of people take off to study for the bar exam. A lot of people don't know you can do part-time law school. It is a thing. Instead of going to law school for 3 years and taking a year off to study for the bar exam, you go to law school for 4 years. So you take a little bit more time. It goes a little bit slower. You take less credit hours every semester. I think the part-time law school program I'm looking at, you take like 12 max classes a semester, which is sustainable with a part-time job, but it is also significantly cheaper than going to a 3-year program. So it allows you to cash flow your way through school because you can work a part-time job or do content creation on the side. So yes, it's going to take me a little bit longer to get through law school, but like I said, I'm young. I have the time. I'm going to take advantage of the time that I have and do it in a sustainable way. That's the other thing about going to law school the traditional way. It burns a lot of people out. Like, I know a lot of my friends who are currently in law school or just recently graduated law school, and they always are talking about how burnt out they are between getting internships, doing law review, reading all of your cases, having all of this homework. It's exhausting. And I think that doing a part-time program might make it a little bit more sustainable and approachable for me. Because like I said, I'm a person who needs to recharge every once in a while. I work hard and I will work hard. And I am ambitious. I'm all of those things. But I do need to recharge. And that's perfectly fine. That's perfectly human. I'm not a machine. I'm not an AI robot. I can't just go. I need to recharge. I need to fill up my cup. I need to have time to do my creative passions. So yeah, my plan, if everything works out, is to cash flow as much as possible my way through a part-time law school program, because I've learned my lesson with my undergraduate student loans, and I want to avoid student loan debt as much as possible. And I'm choosing a slower, less conventional route because I don't want money or anything else to stop me from pursuing something I'm passionate about. Because at the end of the day, I'd rather take my time and do it my way than rush into a path that leaves me financially and personally stuck and burnt out. And honestly, I think that this old way of doing things is kind of played out. It's kind of outdated. Like most of our legal industry, it's built on tradition. And traditions, I think, should change as technology changes, as society changes. But nobody asked me, did they? But yeah, this idea that you have to pick your profession that you're going to do forever at the age of 17 or 18 and stick with it for the rest of your life in order to be successful or even to just live a middle class life is outdated, especially for our generation. The reality is most of us are going to struggle to buy a starter home, let alone hit all of the so-called traditional milestones of the middle class. So yes, I am switching careers in my mid-20s, and I think we should normalize that. Normalize going back to school in your 30s, your 40s, your 50s, whenever you want, because pursuing more education is never a bad idea as long as you can afford it. And with the rise of AI, nobody really knows what the future is going to look like anyways. Everybody loves to speculate. AI is going to replace paralegals. AI is going to replace attorneys. AI is going to replace the people who pick up our trash. I don't know. But the reality is none of us really know. All we know is that this new technology, like all the other new technologies that are being made and happening every day, are going to change the way we view the world, and they're going to change the way our society operates, whether that is in a big way, like completely wiping out careers or industries, or in a small way where it's like just taking, some of the tasks that used to take 2 to 3 hours now take 20 minutes. We just don't know. We don't know. So you might as well just do whatever you want. And I personally don't think my version of the American dream is about having a certain house or a certain career or a certain respectability. Truthfully, my American dream is having the ability to work when I want to, on what I want to, and pursuing a legal career with the hopes of owning my own small legal practice, as well as pursuing content creation, is how I see my future self being able to take control over how I spend my time. So, if there's one thing I want everyone who watches this video and makes it all the way to the end to take away from it, is your journey does not have to be perfect. Nothing is. If you think anything is perfect, it's probably not real. And it doesn't have to follow any set timeline or make sense to anyone else. Pursue what excites you, what energizes you, what gives you purpose, even if it looks different from everyone else's path. I hope my story inspires the late bloomers, the career switchers, and anyone questioning the traditional order, the traditional path, to keep going, keep exploring, keep asking questions, keep challenging yourself, and trust yourself. And if that resonates with you, I'd love to hear from you in the comments down below. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.